Hey guys, it's Sean and I want to share a video about some activities involving some activities that had to do with Canada Day. So Canada Day here in Canada is July 1st. So these are the activities I'm going to be doing with my son, and I thought I would just post a video and maybe give you some ideas. So the first items we have here are these little, they're called giftum characters, and they're little gift boxes that open up, and there's all different countries and stuff. So I pulled out the two that were Canadian. So there's this girl here that's from Montreal, and then on the other side is this limited edition snowboarder one. So I thought my son could just play with these little characters, maybe match them up, like the snowboarder can go to the one that matches with the snowboarder picture there. So just something fun for him to play with. These giftums, right now you can find them at Dollarama. That's where I've been buying mine. For a package of 3, they cost $4, and the individual little boxes you can buy separately for $1. So up next for my son to use in his open play is just like open-ended play items are these little wooden figurines here. So we have a hockey player, a farmer, a Mountie, and a little sailor. And then we have the Canadian flag here. So these little wooden pieces, there are more pieces. We also the set also comes with the CN Tower. They are all pieces to his train track. Now some of the pieces are at my mom's house because that's where he is during the day, my son. So I just have these ones right now to show you. What I will try to do is link my video on my other channel of that train table. I believe the train table is from the company Hape, and you can buy it at Indigo Books. So I'll try to link that video down below if you wanted to get that train set. The train set is really nice. It has the map of Canada as the base of where the trains tracks go. So a really nice set. So we have these characters for my son to play with. Also for my son's open-ended play, I have some of his little toys here that are all Canadian animals. So we have like a buffalo, a whale, a brown bear, a black bear. Our national animal is a beaver, a seal, a moose, and a polar bear. So I also have this little book for him to look at. So this is Canadian animals, and this is like a touch and feel book. And so we have the beaver, there's like a frog, Arctic hare, an otter, moose, blue jay, a puffin, walrus, grizzly bear, turtle, orca, and a chipmunk. So this is a super cute little book. This is by Scholastics. If you wanted to check it out, maybe you can find it on their website. And the last item for his open-ended play is, because the little wooden CN Tower is at my mom's, I might get it back before I do these activities, but I thought this would be more fun for my son to play with. This is a souvenir from the CN Tower that we have here in Toronto. So it's just a wire metal CN Tower. So I thought my son would have more fun playing with this item than the little wooden one. So those are all the items for his open-ended play. So this next activity I'm going to share with you can either be done as a sensory activity with Play-Doh. So I just pulled out his white Play-Doh and his red Play-Doh. I have the red one out here. But I have these letters here, and I thought it would be fun for language if we press these letters in the Play-Doh. Or you could also do it into paint and then stamp with the paint. But just to spell out Canada. So I thought that was super cute. And then I also have these maple leaf ones that came from my recent little haul from Bulk Burn. So you can punch out some maple leaves, and again he could also stamp these in paint if you would like. And the last one I have is from a cookie cutter set, and it's just a leaf a flag shape. So I was thinking you can dip this one maybe in Play-Doh or paint. I think this one might work better in the paint. Dip it in the paint and then use the smaller leaf from the Bulk Burn and maybe stamp the maple leaf in the middle like our Canadian flag. Super cute little art project maybe. Speaking of art, this is one we actually did last year, but this is our Canadian flag that we made. So what we did was took a white piece of paper and glued red construction paper on each side, and then I took my son's hand, and the first hand we did like this in the red paint, and then I used his other hand and did it like this to make it look like a leaf in the center, and then this part here is his like wrist, so it was like this and then like this. So that's another way to make a cute little flag if you want to do an art project with your children. This might be another fun activity for sensory. These are pine cones from our evergreen trees. So I thought my son could make impressions of the pine cones. Like that. Or maybe use this one. Maybe roll with it. I don't know. Yeah, there. It works actually. So another fun, just an extra kind of sensory activity using natural materials. Up next are just some practical life activities. So I showed these in my recent haul too. These are just some dish towels, washcloths. So I thought my son could use these to help me clean up around the house. They're just in our red and white traditional Canadian colors. So I thought that he could help me with that, or he can also use them just to practice his folding skills. So it's great. And then speaking of folding skills, I thought my son could wash his laundry with me in the washing machine, and then I can get him to like match these nice little Canadian socks. These ones just came from the dollar store, and then I don't think I could do it one-handedly, but just to fold them up and put them away in his basket. And again, here's his little tank top. So again, just folding, learning how to fold his laundry and put it away. Great. My son is 2 years old, and one of his favorite activities is doing laundry. So I think it's a great skill to learn how to actually wash the clothing and then learn how to fold your clothing. So this is just his Toronto Blue Jays pajamas. So again, just to fold them up and help me put away his laundry. Now I did pull out some books for my son's language skills. So these are the items I have, and I also have some of those word strips too from Dollar Tree. So this first item is a book from Scholastics. This is 100 French words. So this is a really neat book. It says, so there's a cat, it tells you the name in French, and then when you open it up, there's little sayings underneath these. Super cute little book. I don't know much French myself, so this is a great way for me to learn some French as well as my son. And obviously he's only 2, so he's not gonna, actually remember all the words, but it's just we'll do a couple. Like he recognizes a cat, so we could say this, and the ball and the dog. So just to learn a little bit of French, since Canada is made up of English and French, our language. So, and then there's this book here. This one I also picked up at Scholastics, and this is A Day at the Sugar Bush Making Maple Syrup. So I thought that would be a cool little read my son might like. That's the one thing my son will actually eat is some maple syrup on his pancakes. So this is a great little book to teach him how the maple syrup is actually, comes from trees, tapped from trees, and how it's processed and made, and how it comes to our table. Then I have these also from Scholastics. These are little guided science readers. So this one is nighttime animals, so the animals that come out at nighttime. Raccoon there in Toronto. We do see a lot of raccoons at nighttime, especially in our garbage. So there's that one. Farming is very, it's one of our main industries here in Canada, so I pulled out the Farm Friends book. Here we do have a long winter, so this is a little book about snow. Again, to go with the farm book is Harvest Time. So it's just this little book about different foods that we have here in Canada. This one is Forest Animals. We have some beautiful forests out in British Columbia here in Canada, and even here in Ontario, but in British Columbia the trees and just gorgeous. So this is about the little animals that you can find in the forest. This one is Wolf Countdown, so this is more just like a quick little read. It has like pictures of wolves, and it's just, you know, tells you 3 wolves, 2 wolves, just kind of a counting book. But again, beautiful pictures, so I think my son will like that. My mom, who watches my son during the day, her passion is wolf, so he recognizes a wolf right away. He always says Nana, Nana, because her apartment has like wolf decor everywhere. So I think he'll like that one. Now, in the North Canada, there's the Arctic, so this is just about Arctic animals. So we have foxes and owl, reindeer. These are just quick little reads that I could read to him during, you know, just before he takes a nap or at bedtime. So great books. And this last book I found downtown at a bookstore. It's called Why I Love Canada, and again, a super adorable little book, beautifully illustrated. It says, because we have beautiful forests, we have wide open spaces, we have the Northern Lights. So super cute book. I think my son's really going to enjoy these. Next, I'm going to move on to some kind of math activities. Sorry, I forgot to show these. These are sight words. These come from the Dollar Tree. These are the social studies vocabulary words. The reason I pulled out these is because it has some words, like my son cannot read these words, but I can read them to him. So there's country there, city, island, different words, map, ocean, province, territory, wetlands. So we'll just go over some of those words, just, you know, so he can get familiar with them, and I'll have them up in his pocket little thing that holds these, so they'll be up, you know, the whole month of July, and we'll just, every day I can just read, you know, a different word to him, like ocean, country. So I have those. Okay, so now on to the math activities. So this first little math activity will be involving our Canadian coins. So I have this little time and money flashcards that came from Dollarama. They're $1.50. And I thought, I just pulled out a couple of the cards, and I thought, just, you know, to get my son familiar with the money. Now this will be a well supervised activity in case he tries to put any of these in his mouth, but I just want him to get familiar with the coin. So I thought it'd be perfect to just match our actual coin to the one on the card. So just to show you our Canadian coins, I'll start with our largest one. This is our toonie. It's got a nice little polar bear on it. This is our loonie with the loon on it. This is our quarter with the caribou. The dime has the blue nose sailboat on it. And then our nickel has our national animal, the beaver. Now, we do no longer, here in Canada, we do no longer have pennies anymore. They banned them, so they just got rid of them. So we have this as our coins that we use here in Canada, but I just thought this would be a fun activity for my son to just learn our Canadian coins and then get him to match them to these cards. And then, you know, I can also tell him that this is worth 5, this is worth 25, this is worth 10, this is worth $1, and this is worth $2. So these next little things is for counting. Now my son will be using these plastic little maple leaves, but I want to show you another option in case you couldn't find something like that. You can find poker chips that are red, white, and blue at any dollar store. I found these ones at Dollarama, so I thought my son could roll his dice and land it on 6. So count out 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 poker chips. So there's that one with the poker chips. And then another thing that you can have if you can't find poker chips is, so I rolled a 4. So I have these little silk maple leaves as well. So again, my son can count out 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 into his little bowl here. But the ones he'll be actually using, because I have them. Now these I got at Dollarama during fall time, Halloween time, so I don't know if you can find them. There's little plastic maple leaves, so again, this is what he'll be doing, rolling it. Again, I got a 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Just an easy, simple little counting game. Also for counting is this Canadian dot-to-dot book. So I just marked off 2 that I want him to do. So the first one I want him to do is the busy beaver one, because the beaver is our national animal. So I will do hand over hand with him. I'll count with him and I'll help him draw the line. So this one is 1 to 15. And then I marked off the one that looks like a wolf, so he can do it and then give it to my mom. So here's the wolf one. And again, I'll just hold his hand and we'll count all the way through to 15, and then he can color these in, and this one, like I said, he can give to my mom as like a little present. Maybe we'll put in a frame. So that's for math skills. Up next is just 2 little fine motor activities. So the first item here is a little maple leaf hole punch that I also got at Dollarama. So these hole punches are great for fine motor. So you're using your fingers to press down on them. So I don't know if I can do this one handily. I'll try. So you just press down on it. Hold on. I switched hands because I'm right-handed. So there you go, a little cute hole punch of the little maple leaf. And there it is. So we could just use these little maple leaves to decorate, and if he punches out enough of them, another practical life activity would be to sweep all these up off the floor or vacuum them. So there's that. And then I pulled out our red and white pipe cleaners, and I thought it would be fun just for my son to twist these around, try to make some bracelets. I might go and get like some beads. I don't know how he would do with beads, and try to lace them on here. I might pull out some of his larger lacing beads and have him thread them on these, and I don't know, he'll just have fun making some little even sculptures out of these. So these are some language activities I planned for my son. So I got a few books from the library. I want to do every province and territory, and what I was thinking is just to have him look at the books with me, and I went ahead and photocopied some of the stuff in them. So there's the front cover. So here I started with British Columbia. There's just some information, so I thought it'd be fun to use, like, work on his scissor skills just to cut different things out. And then I have this binder here and this sketch pad, so I thought it would be fun for him to maybe glue in the items and make himself like a little scrapbook all about Canada. And then, you know, once in a while we can just flip through it and say, oh, there's, you know, the Rocky Mountains, and there's the CN Tower, and there's the Maid of Mist boat in Niagara Falls. So I just have been getting a lot of books from the library. That's another great thing. If you don't have books about Canada, you can always just go to the library. They have a ton of different books all about Canada. Also, for his language, I kind of did the same thing. I pulled out some of the Aboriginal books from the library, and again, the same thing. I photocopied some ones that I want my son just to, you know, cut out some items. So this one's about the clothing they wear. And again, just to put in a scrapbook. Then we could decorate the scrapbook with like stickers. So So this one's like about the Inuit people. And then I have this one, the Cree. Clothing, the region they live in, stuff like that. Just to talk about a little bit about the Aboriginal culture here in Canada. And this last one is the Ojibwe, and again, I just photocopied a couple of different pages. This one's really neat because it has the Ojibwe words and then the English words. So that's for his language. Up next, I'm going to show you just a little science experiments I'm going to do with my son. Here's my ideas for some science experiments that you could do with your children maybe. Here in Canada, we do get a lot of snow and ice. So I have just 2 bowls here full of some ice. And I thought a fun experiment that could be is putting sand and salt on these and seeing which one melts the ice faster. So you could just sprinkle some salt on, or you can actually measure it with a measuring cup, so you're adding equal amounts of salt and sand. I just wanted to show you quickly. So sprinkle those, and then you could set a timer and see which bowl of ice melts faster. Some people do use sand to try to, like on their driveways, as to reduce slipperiness, but salt, actually they sell road salt, and that usually melts the ice pretty fast. But it is a fun experiment that you could try out with your children. Another science experiment you could try out is weighing items. So just have a kitchen scale here, and cargo is shipped all out through Canada and into the United States and across seas. So a fun one could be weighing different items. So I have a bunch of my son's wood chips and little pieces of wood here, so you can add them to the top and then see, okay, what they weigh. And then you can compare it to other items around your house. You can weigh almost anything, but I just picked like wood because we ship like logs and stuff. So this is a little box, and I placed some walnuts in it, and then you can see how much those weigh. And then you could write down everything and keep track and what weighs the most. You can also weigh stuff like like say you're sending out some spices. You could put some spice bottles on the top and see how much those weigh. So that's just another fun activity you could do with your children to see how much cargo weighs when it's shipped out. Another fun activity would be a float and sink activity in a sensory bin. So again, trying to keep the boat afloat as you know, it's traveling through the seas and it's not overweight by cargo. You could try that, just placing different items on top of the boat and trying to not make it too heavy and not to sink it. So you could try that, experimenting with different things around your house. But another thing my son will be doing is, we have this set. This was on Amazon. This is a balancing boat, so it comes with all these pieces. So I thought this would be fun for my son to try to balance this boat with different cargo and trying to keep it, you know, balanced without tipping over this boat. So a little fun activity that I'll do with my son. So go. Also, since I have these ice cubes out, I would show you another activity that you can maybe do for sensory. The Inuit people live in igloos, so I thought another cool idea would be is to use some ice cubes and maybe try to stack them upon each other and try to make your own little igloo. My ice cubes happen to be flower shaped right now, but that might be a fun little, they're starting to melt already because of the salt, but that might be a fun little sensory activity you could do with your children, is trying to make a little igloo out of ice cubes. Also for sensory, you could have this fishing set in a sensory bin. Fishing is a great motor skill. Personally, our family doesn't go live fishing, like catching real fish, but for my son, because fishing is a big industry here in Canada, I thought it'd be fun if he uses his little fishing set. This one happened to come from Walmart Canada, but I thought he could have fun maybe in the bath fishing for these little fish. So that's a great little activity. If you guys are comfortable going real fishing, it's always a great activity to do with your children. I did do it as a child. I had a lot of fun fishing. It's just now with the fishing, I just don't agree with it, but it is a great activity to go out, and even net fishing is a little bit more, I would say, I would do if I had to go fishing, I would use a net to try to scoop up with the fish instead of using a hook. But fishing is another fun thing that you could do with your children. These next two activities I want to show you are all about like using your thinking skills. So this first item here was $2.99. It also came from that 6 Points dollar store that's located at 6 Points Mall here in Etobicoke, and it's near Dundas and Kipling Avenue if you wanted to pick one of these up. But this is a puzzle with all the provinces and territories on it, so great for fine motor, and it's also great for thinking and visually, you know, seeing where the pieces go. So great little puzzle there, and also great for language because you can talk about all the names of the different provinces and territories, the Great Lakes, the oceans, the animals that are on here, their names. Great little puzzle. And then I showed these stickers in my haul also from that store on 6 Points. These are stickers. I had a few other packages, so what I did was I stuck them down, but what I did is I put, like, see up here is Nova Scotia, and then I put Nova Scotia down here. So I thought this would be a great visual discrimination for my son to match the, you know, provinces and territories to each other. And I have another one on this one, so again, British Columbia is here, and then to match it down here. You could also do this with just photocopies or you know, other stickers that you had, like say different maple leaf stickers if you had those, or different flowers, because each, you know, province and territory has their own flowers, so you could do it that way. Or you can make copies off the internet of all the different flags of the provinces and territories, and then do the same thing, just have your child match them up. Now I just wanted to show you in another thing you can do is you can look up the food for a province or territory. So here in this flyer it has this, and it says Foodland Ontario. So these are some foods that are, you know, we find here in Ontario, so you could cut them out for your province or your territory and then glue them down on some paper. You could go throughout the flyer and try to find, you know, food that is made in Canada. That's one. And then if you do want to photocopy and or print things and like that, you could also check your local tourism spots. I happen to get this one at the bus depot, but it's just they have these little free magazines sometimes, and if you wanted to just make a collage instead of printing things off the internet, you can get one of these little magazines and cut, you know, things out that, you know, here's the word Toronto, so you could cut that out and use it as a collage, or cut this out, and there's like different things. So that's another way to make a collage or a scrapbook. So here's our Royal Ontario Museum, so you could cut these out and the building, and then have your child glue those into their scrapbook. Anyways, I just hope you enjoyed these activities. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.